There's no better way to unwind than throwing yourself into a digital world where you start off with nothing and have to survive, right? Well, I've got some banger picks for survival crafters for you to test your survival skills against. In this video, I'm going to go through 10 of the best survival crafter games, ranking them from easy peasy right through to hardcore survival, so you can choose your desired level of anxiety. Without further ado, let's dive into 10 of the best survival crafter games. I'm going to kick it off with the self-proclaimed cozy survival game, I Am Future. In I Am Future, you find yourself awoken from cryostasis with absolutely no memory, so you have no idea who you are, how you got onto the rooftop or in cryostasis, and you missed the whole apocalypse too, so you basically have no idea what's what. You'll need to scavenge the overgrown wreckage on the rooftop to gather resources such as wood, metal, plastic, and more, as well as harvest edible plants and ward off the random toxic plants trying to take over. True to a typical survival crafter, you'll need to manage your hunger and health, but this is pretty chill in this game. This game takes on a futuristic vibe, and there's plenty of cool gadgets you can craft, like robot minions, futuristic generators, and to generate some income, you can even build your own crypto farms. I Am Future is still in early access, so the story side of the game is limited to the first chapter at the moment, but what they have released is pretty top notch and doesn't really feel like an early access game at all. This is a game I definitely recommend getting now to get the best bang for your buck, and if you're looking for a nice easy step into the survival crafter genre, this is the perfect starter game to test yourself on. Coming in next on the survival scale is Raft. Starting with just a basic raft and a hook, Raft sees you scavenge and traverse a post-apocalyptic landscape where the world is almost completely underwater and humanity has turned to a life on the high seas to survive. You'll have 3 basic survival mechanics: hunger, water, and health, and these can definitely be challenging to fulfill whilst on a raft. You'll need to collect debris floating past your raft to allow you to build and craft, whilst also defending your ship against a shark that has a grudge against wood. There is a story woven into the game that sees you come up against some other foes such as mutant rats, electrifying robots, and one great big mama bear. But otherwise, life at sea can actually be pretty peaceful. You unlock blueprints as you progress through the story, and there's some pretty cool locations to check out along the way, as well as the randomly spawned islands that provide bountiful resources if you can get past the wild boar and the screeches to collect it. With farming, the ability to have animals, and a whole range of building and customization options, this is a game you can sink a lot of time into, and once you get the hang of it, the survival aspects are actually pretty light on. I would recommend playing this one co-op to make the grind a little less tedious, but this is a great survival crafter that is a whole lot of fun. Next up, we have Sunkenland. In Sunkenland, you spawn in the middle of the ocean, quite literally, and you'll need to swim to the nearest island before you can even begin to start your survival journey. This game features hunger, thirst, and health as the main categories for survival, but ups the ante in terms of enemies with a whole range of different pirate gangs that plague the seas, as well as a well-populated marine life to keep you on your toes. Sunkenland takes a post-apocalyptic feel and sees a landscape where the world has been sunk into the sea. This game focuses heavily on exploring the sunken landscape and has got some pretty cool locations for you to explore under the water. You'll see full sections of highway under the sea, and there's plenty of scavenging available as you break apart cars, household objects, and more to gather resources. Sunkenland also features an evolving combat system that involves a range of different weapons ranging from spears and clubs right through to automatic guns, and you can build a whole bunch of different watercraft to help you navigate the seas, which adds a lot more of a range for you to explore. This is an early access game and it definitely feels that way at the moment. However, this is a game that I'm really excited to see continue to develop, as there's a whole stack of potential in this game. Grounded sees you step into the shoes of a teenager who has been shrunken down to the size of an ant with no memory of how it happened. You can play solo or co-op with up to 4 people as you try and navigate a world that you can see from a whole new perspective. Go up against spiders, bees, mosquitoes, and more as you locate some lost science labs and try to figure out how to reverse the shrinking process. And with some epic building functionality, you can build amazing bases too. This is a true open world survival crafter with hunger, thirst, and health needs to satisfy, and each item you pick up unlocks new craftable items for you to craft and build, with a huge range of items to unlock. Each of the labs has a unique design with completely different themes and enemies to face off against, and there's a whole range of extra stuff for you to find too if you want 100% the game. This is a game you can devote a lot of time to. I've personally sunk over 80 hours, and it's a whole lot of fun so long as you're not too fussed by facing off with giant spiders, of course. We can't possibly talk about indie survival crafters without talking about Valheim. Valheim is an epic fantasy open world survival game that is heavily inspired by Viking lore. This game has a pretty good rep, and there's a good reason why. It's absolutely epic. Starting off with nothing, literally not even clothes on your back, you're thrown into an unforgiving world. You'll need to balance your hunger, stamina, and health with the food you eat affecting both and having the potential to sway the outcome of a battle. You'll face up against a range of different monsters, including trolls, greylings, wraiths, and many, many more. And there's a bunch of challenging bosses to face up against as you progress through the game. As you progress, you'll unlock new tools and new resources that will allow you to craft higher tier armor and weapons, and each item you pick up will unlock new craftable recipes for you to make. This game has some really cool building functionality, letting you create some pretty epic builds. And decor lovers will be happy to know that decor has a place too, giving you bonus states that help your stats. The combat side is pretty great, with some skill required to get the ultimate blows in and dodge at exactly the right moments, and makes for some pretty interesting encounters. This is truly one of the best games out there right now, and it's still in early access with more to come. If you're after some zombie action, 7 Days to Die could be the survival crafter for you. You'll test yourself against some pretty gnarly zombies as you navigate a post-apocalyptic world, and you'll need to get yourself in order pretty quickly, as every 7 days you'll be graced with a blood moon that sends the zombies pretty feral and essentially makes them attack your base. You'll need to scavenge abandoned towns to gather resources, as well as mine ores, chop down trees, and most importantly, source and grow food, with finding weapons coming in a close second to that. This one is still in early access with a whole range more stuff being added to the game, and the servers have some pretty great hosting capabilities, allowing you to team up with at least 9 other players. With the combo of tower defense aspects, zombie killing action, and your usual suspects in the survival game, hunger, water, and health, this is a survival crafter that is perfect for the horror lover. Next up, we've got Smallands Survive the Wilds. Smallands Survive the Wilds is a new spin on the shrunken down concept, seeing you take on the role of Vanguard in seek of a cure for your queen. This is a more fantasy take on the survival crafter genre, where you belong to another species who was forced underground by giants and have only resurfaced because of your dire need. You'll find yourself up against ants, bees, lizards, and more as you navigate a giant's world full of oversized objects, and these foes can be pretty nasty, earning this game a spot amongst the more challenging survival games. You'll also go up against Mother Nature with deadly storms, snow, and other weather conditions all taking their toll and reducing your health. You'll feast on grasshopper legs, or you can turn them into weapons instead, offering some creative flexibility for your items, and each item you collect adds more options for you to craft or build. And did I mention you can also tame creatures and ride them? This is a really cool take on the survival crafter genre that's currently in early access, with a full release, including console release, coming in March. In another zombie-filled open world survival nightmare, Project Zomboid comes in as the third most hardcore survival crafter on my list. In Project Zomboid, you'll find yourself in the middle of the apocalypse, quite literally, with zombies after you left, right, and center. This game takes a third-person perspective, allowing you a pretty unique look into the world around you. But don't be mistaken, this is not an advantage. Alongside hunger, water, and health, you'll also only be able to see things in your line of sight. The cool thing about this game is the level of realism it has. You'll need to keep your noise down and close the blinds to avoid the zombies knowing you're not one of them, and it's pretty easy to get bogged down by hordes in this game, so you'll need to check yourself before you wreck yourself. The game has a few different maps to choose from, and each has some great looting options, mostly abandoned houses that hold some of the most random assortment of items. You'll need to find food, water, and equipment to survive, and of course, arming yourself is absolutely necessary. This is probably one of the most challenging zombie games I've found, and the realistic feel really makes for some interesting gameplay. Still in early access, new content and features are still being added, improving the quality of the game, but this is for sure a game you can spend a whole lot of time in, building up your apocalypse bunkers and scrounging the neighborhood for goodies. Coming in as the second most hardcore survival game, Stranded Deep sees your private plane crash into the ocean, leaving you with nothing but a life raft and some measly supplies to try and survive. You'll make your way to different islands that hold different resources for you to collect. You'll need to keep an eye on your hunger and your water, as well as checking your SPF levels, because ain't nobody got time for sunburn, whilst also maintaining your health, which can get a little tricky. As you'd expect, the wildlife is not happy about you showing up on their tiny slice of the world, and you'll come up against a range of different creatures like giant crabs, snakes, and sharks who are all out to get you, and your injuries all require different treatment, so you'll need to be careful because, like in real life, many of your injuries will be fatal. There's a pretty vague storyline about you making your way back to civilization and gathering the necessary parts to fix up a random plane you come across, but this is a game you can definitely take at your own pace. There's a whole stack of building options, including vehicles for you to make, and you'll find Mother Nature is unforgiving, with storms occurring frequently and making shelter necessary. You can play Stranded Deep solo or embark on your island castaway adventure with a friend, easily sinking some serious time into this challenging world. And coming in as the most hardcore survival crafter game, Green Hell takes survival to a new level, throwing you and up to 3 friends into a mysterious Amazon adventure. You'll wake up with a sore head and no memory in the middle of a jungle with only the clothes on your back. This game takes survival to a new level with not only hunger as a whole, but individual food groups too, and you'll need to balance your fats, proteins, carbs, and hydration to be able to survive. Alongside hunger, you'll need to manage your sanity with things like cannibalism and leeches reducing your mental state, and you'll need to manage your energy levels, taking a rest when needed or risking passing out on the jungle floor and contracting ringworm. Speaking of, there's a whole range of nasty bugs and creatures that will be happy to aid you to your death. You'll come across snakes, spiders, jaguars, and more as you navigate through a secluded jungle setting, trying to locate your wife and the Amazonian tribes you once connected with. But wait, that's not all. Also trying to kill you will be a range of different parasites and infections that can occur due to injuries that aren't treated properly, not boiling your water, or eating the wrong types of fruit. And you'll need to use some trial and error to see what will help cure your ailments before they take you out. But wait, there's more. Not only is the jungle trying to kill you, but so are a particular tribe of villagers that live in the jungle, so you'll need to be on the lookout for raiding tribesmen who will randomly attack you from time to time. This game leaves no gruesome details out. You'll need to remove leeches, use maggots to clear infections, and skin tribesmen to harvest their bones to make armor or bone broth. This game features a pretty cool storyline, featuring some immersive hallucination scenes and a heart-wrenching mystery that drives you to figure out how you got left in the middle of the jungle, and it has some great building functionality, allowing you to construct some pretty cool bases and even take to the trees with treehouse functionality. This is for sure a game that will challenge even the most experienced survival lover, and is a whole lot of fun. That is a wrap on 10 of the best indie survival crafter games, ranked from easiest to most hardcore. I'd love to know what your favorite survival crafters are, so feel free to drop a comment with your favorite below. Make sure to subscribe to the channel for more indie game content, and if you're interested in the fully chaotic and always caffeinated live stream experience, make sure to follow me on Twitch, TikTok, or right here for live streams. Until next time, stay caffeinated.